relearn how to map. Let me navigate. I have to get closer to my screen. Ugh. Turn. Crash into a fence. Turn this way. I'm going to investigate all of these houses.
Oh, mon bonhomme! Qu'est-ce que tu fais là, l'étrange? Je m'attendais pas à ce qu'un étrange retentisse par ici. Moi te dire, je prends plus de chance depuis que ça rôde dans ce bout-là. J'ai ma carabine au bout du doigt, et puis bang, 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 si ça s'approche. Si tu veux du linge chaud, parce que t'es habillé comme un gars de la ville, je dirais pas non à une bonne bouteille de caribou. Puis tu pigeras ce que tu voudras parmi mes guinées. Tu m'amènes un bon galop de caribou.
Alright, good to know. This house has a person in it.
There was so much in this cabin to enrich body and mind. Carl couldn't leave empty-handed.
I wonder which hand to use. Man, I'm lucky these things are built to last. Because I can't drive for shit. Alright, so just follow this road. Follow the road and take the turns. Might have gone better if I just, you know, turned.
shivered as he saw the emblem. The Patriot flag, used during the 1837 rebellion, and which had resurfaced in 1970s Quebec, flown proudly by the FLQ terrorist groups. This flag meant bombs, kidnappings, threats in the papers. It was a sign of rebellion. That truck had obviously seen its share of gravel roads. Carl wasn't a mechanic, but he could easily tell that only the most heartfelt prayer would bring this old beater back from its slumber. With that cold, however, it was more likely that it would wait until next spring to wake up.
Always look inside a place first. I know what happens to those foolish enough to just walk in a building like they own it. Well, I should know a thing or two about that in real life, too.
An axe, not too shabby. Carl felt he needed to protect himself.
Building looks clear. Looks is one big guess, though.
With a homemade shooting range such as this, it wasn't hard to imagine a stray bullet ending its course inside the flesh of an unsuspecting passerby. Granted, Carl thought, there wasn't much in the way of passersby around here.
Bullseye. House of the Patriot. When I think of terrorist, I think...
The place looked more like a pigsty than a house. A heavy stench of curdled milk, cheap alcohol, and boiled cauliflower filled the air. Rock music invaded the minds of men even in the remotest of places. The man didn't own a turntable, though, so there's that going for him.
Sock drawer. Hawaiian... Oh no, those are sweaters. I thought those were Hawaiian shirts.
Back then, in Africa and elsewhere, people were ready to take up arms to stand against the yoke of English imperialism. In Montreal, mailboxes were blown up, abductions were carried out, and violent manifestos were distributed to media outlets. But around here, in the great northernmost, all a man could do is curse out loud against a faraway evil and pray for the revolution to arise. That man, by any reckoning, was from that very stock.
Right, how many? Equipment. How many fire starters do I got? Is there a way to see that? Fire starter. I have 6 fire starters. No point now. Someone's been here. Why wash dishes when clean ones are within reach? A gun rack. A gun rack.
You had to be out of your mind to cook up white whiskey at home. The all-surrounding stench of alcohol alone was probably enough to gas a man to death.
Prepare caribou. Drawers are overrated.
Carl knew right away that the owner of this place wasn't a copper collector. No, this was a junkman's base of operations. The guy definitely seemed like quite the expert in scavenging scrap metal, with or without permission, surely. In the right hands, red metal could sell like hotcakes. The rag reeked of fermented vomit. Carl wondered how one could bear to live in such gross and horrid conditions. Carl now knew how to quench the drunkard's thirst. You had to be out of your mind to cook up white whiskey at home. The all-surrounding stench of alcohol alone was probably enough to gas a man to death. Et Jean Blouin. Seems like that pig had a name after all.
Why did my gun just up and disappear?
Carl felt that it was mission accomplished, with the wicked nectar in his hands.
Then I have one last house down all the way that way to check out. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Huh. Interesting. Street leads to it. Discord. Oh. It's not possible to open both.
Sometimes, and especially around here, people are so possessive with their land, as a dog is with hydrants.
There's no prints on that one. I don't think. Oh no.
What was a motorless car? The mechanic sure had an odd way to go about repairing things.
That music is anxiety-inducing.
Well, this truck's not going anywhere. Where were the amputated parts? Carl grinned as he pictured a Frankenstein-esque car lying around somewhere made of parts from a dozen different vehicles. The man seemed petrified in ice. What Carl saw terrified him, and he didn't know if it was the fear or the cold that was responsible for his hair standing on end all over his body. The poor man, before being frozen solid, seemed to be defending the entrance to his cabin. But from what?
That's a fuck no from me, man. I'm gonna get in my truck to recollect my thoughts. Yeah, that's a definite gnar. Hamilton, I won't be your dog anymore. Snowmobile ski.
Nice carillon. They say it's supposed to soothe the soul. But with this powerful gale that seemingly never sleeps, it was far more likely to get on anyone's nerves. Carl had a hunch that there had got to be a plan somewhere that could help him put this thing back together.
Snowmobile track.
Sheets of metal everywhere. Was Carl out of touch with current home improvement trends? Or perhaps this was meant to protect against residual radiation? Gamma rays?
I hate it in this place. Homemade flying saucer. Life never ceases to amaze me. Unused steel trap. Not to be touched.
The very first steps of man on the moon were made more than a year ago. The event had surely captivated the mechanic's mind for him to still keep this around.
Something isn't right when your bed is in your garage.
To all appearances, Carl concluded, the owner of the place had moved more essentials from his house inside the garage. Peculiar man indeed. The week of October 5th, thought Carl. That was this week. The plug should have been here by now.
Green milk for little green men. Good Lord.
something very important must have been in there for the man to take such time and effort to hide it. But Carl didn't know how to reach it.
Too many orange juice bottles.
Perhaps someone was expecting an important call. In any case, that person's in for a long wait. Carl already noticed that telephone services weren't provided in this area. The milk was sorted by color, from the whitest to the greenest, or in other words, from the freshest to the sourest.
I deduce either this man knew something and was paranoid, or he had some other reason.
Carl wondered how long he would have to endure this skin-stinging cold. Roswell, Atamipek, same story. Large deserts conducive to extravagant follies. Carl deducted this was a map of the area. Were those pins pointing to places of interest? Weird stuff. Kind of a crossing between a colander and a hairdryer. What was it for? To play telepath? To protect against nuclear waves? These scribblings were undoubtedly the mark of a tormented mind. Something wasn't right in the poor mechanic's head.
Apparently the moth is a rock collector. Polaroid film. Alright, I need to...
If some daring person could manage to get their hands on the missing parts, Carl was willing to bet that the craft would have taken flight. Carl hadn't lived up to his good finder reputation. He still hadn't found any of the wealth contained in the mutt's lands.
I have 2 logs in here.
The man has a passion for intergalactic things. Back then, people were obviously scared of the Russian atomic bomb, but an invasion by extraterrestrials was a legit fear as well. Seems like the mechanic had made his choice.
Fire. That'll be my safety. Oh, good lord, the amount of story ideas I can get from this. Thank you, Kona. Bench. Colors are always welcome in a monochrome world. Mowing the lawn is unnecessary this time.
By following the plan, Carl was led to believe that the snowmobile's parts had to be scattered about in the vicinity. A bit of gas, a new spark plug, and a key, and this thing would run perfectly. All he needed to do now was to find all that.
So, find the spark plug. I'm sure that snowmobile will come in useful eventually. I don't know what that eye is, but
Carl was used to strange phenomena, but a chunk of ice like this, as if an iceberg came out of the ground, that was a first.
the gun just refuses. That's just...
an indisputable fact that machines like this entailed a level of intellectual finesse that Carl was lacking.
Whatever. I'll go see the drinker.
Pour revenir de même. Ah, quand on cherche, on trouve. Parce que je t'aime bien, à cette heure, je vais te dire quelque chose. Tu fais bien de prendre ma pénice. Parce que par là-bas, tu vas rencontrer le vrai froid. Un froid qui glace comme t'en as jamais connu dans ta vie. Gomme-moi la belle rose de la tulipe, qui se donne au yob sur le mercredi des cendres. C'est-tu pas effrayant, cette histoire-là? Vois-tu le livre, là? C'est le Wendigo. Ouais, le Wendigo. Un guerrier qui devient un loup pour se venger de sa grosse peine. Et... dans mon temps, c'était comme sur l'image. On était vrais, fiers, forts, puis on avait le bon lieu de notre bord. Ah, la belle pétarade. En 17 que c'était. Et le Kaiser, il se souvient de moi avec ma belle carabine. Bang, bang, que je lui disais. Bang, bang, bang. Ah, le bon temps. Et la Corriveau, Batèche, ça te passe l'envie de te marier, la Corriveau. Elle tuait tous ses maris, squick, les uns après les autres. Pas de pitié dans le mariage. reste encore beau. Tout ce qui est vieilli est bien meilleur.
Alright. Man's got his caribou.